This is BYU Sports Nation, brought to you by the BYU Store, simulcast on BYU TV and BYU Radio. Now, from Studio B, here's Spencer Linton and Jerem Jordan.
BYU Sports Nation is live, your day-to-day play-by-play in Studio B, presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. Thursday, March 11th, 2021. Wherever and however you're connected, great to have you with us. I am Spencer Linton, teamed up with a guy who is, I think, happy to have some company back on the desk in Studio B, Jerem Jordan.
What I really miss, although it's great to have you back after a week, is hanging banners at BYU. But yesterday, in case you missed it, BYU did hang a banner. This was a photograph taken by Elmas Micah. Oh, wait, it's a Photoshop. 2021 in the Marriott Center. Led Gonzaga for like 30 mins. So congratulations to BYU Hoops for leading Gonzaga. They hung a banner.
No, the abbreviated word makes that hilarious.
30 men. So well done.
So good. What's the next banner that we're going to hang? Pac-12 South champions when BYU football wins 3 games against the Pac-12 South this year?
And BYU has what, like 5?
5 games
against Pac-12 total?
Pac-12, yes.
And Wazoo in the north, right? And then is it 4 against the South? Utah, Arizona State, and USC.
Yes.
Yeah, 4.
4 against the South.
Okay, there we go. So
okay.
4 of the 6 teams there?
We'll go by win percentage at the end of the season.
Well, we'll talk to Ken Palm, and we'll get an adjusted win percentage, but yes.
Here is your show lineup featuring the NACDA Athletics Director of the Year, Tom Holmoe. We're going to take a look at what he has done over the past year to earn what so many have called a well-deserved recognition. Zach Wilson, in his latest Path to the Draft interview, Jerem Jordan goes one-on-one with the BYU gunslinger, and gymnastics head coach Guard Young joins the show to preview a top 12 showdown on the gymnastics floor tonight at the Marriott Center. Here are today's BYU Sports Nation headlines.
Tom Holmoe, as mentioned, is the NACDA Athletics Director of the Year. Holmoe is one of 4 recipients of the award this year. Of note, Coastal Carolina's AD got one too. BYU President Kevin J. Worthen said if this were a career award, Tom would be among the most deserving.
Kyle Van Noy has been officially released from the Miami Dolphins. I know this feels like old news, but now it's official because they apparently attempted to trade him on several occasions. He is now a free agent. Where's Kyle Van Noy going to end up?
Number 12, BYU Gymnastics hosts number 11 Denver at 9 Eastern on BYU TV and the app in the final home meet of the season tonight. Silver medalist and coach of the Cougars, Guard Young, will join us later in the program.
The Batcats begin a 3-game series against Utah today at 5 p.m. Eastern on BYU Radio. Baseball starting pitcher, none other than Easton Walker, who has a .57 ERA, 10 strikeouts in 15 2/3 innings pitched.
248 is coming. That's BYU has, it's happening. Softball beats Sam Houston State 12-2, led by 10 runs in a single inning. 3 different players going yard. The Cougars play Texas State in San Marcos today at 7 Eastern.
BYU track and field with 11 total entries at the 2021 NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships that begin today. 8 on the women's side, 3 for the men's team. Good luck to all of the athletes involved.
BYU swimming and diving sends 4 athletes to national. Josue Dominguez, Katie McBratney in the 100 and 200 respectively, as well as Kennedy Krebs in the 1 meter and Mickey Strauss in the 1 meter, 3 meter, and the platform.
BYU men's golf finishing 7th at the Lamkin Classic in San Diego. Cole Ponich, 2 strokes under par for the tournament, good for a tie. 3rd place individually.
8 headline day, people. Let's go.
All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
You're talking about it, and so are we. It's What's Trending on BYU Sports Nation.
We are back from Las Vegas, thankfully. As Jerem has joked a few times, I just about started to receive mail down there.
Yeah, set up a P.O. box, but then you were like, oh, yeah, I'm going home.
But not only are we back, Jerem, but bringing some good mojo with the BYU men's basketball program based on what they did against Gonzaga. I know they didn't win.
Hung a banner, though.
But we did hang a banner for leading Gonzaga for about 30 minutes.
Like 30 minutes.
Jerem, following the championship tournament at the West Coast Conference in Vegas, How have your expectations changed for BYU's potential run in the NCAA tournament?
Well, we hope it's a run, because if you lose, that ain't no run. That was just going outside and walking back in your house. But I do think that BYU is going to win a game in the NCAA tournament. I hope the BYU challenges for a second game. That's the hope. BYU has it all, right? Mark Few said it. BYU's got rim protection. They've got shooters. They've got penetrators off the dribble. They've got one of the top defenses in the country, rebounding. I really like BYU's chances here. Now, last year's team had the three-point shooting. BYU is getting better at the threes. Trevin Nell playing well at the end of the season. Caleb Lohner, although he didn't score in that game, has been playing really well at the end of the season. Of course, Alex Barcelo and Brandon Averett and company. Spencer Johnson, right? I like where BYU's at. I'm excited about it. It didn't tell me anything new. It just kind of reinforced the idea of, hey, BYU can hang with anyone. If BYU can hang with Gonzaga, who else can BYU hang with? Should they play a great game or half like that? So I'm excited about it. BYU's top 25 good right now. That much is obvious. Mark Few said it, right, about this is a top 25-ish team. The only team that has really given BYU trouble is the type of team like USC and Boise State, and now Gonzaga, of course, 3 times, that gives BYU trouble on the perimeter with extended pressure that stunts BYU's ability to get into its offense, which is dribble handoff.
Well, and Pepperdine did that against BYU as well.
Yes, and good for Pepperdine, right? That was their Super Bowl a couple times. They won the one. BYU won, 2 of those 3, took to overtime. But, yeah, I'm excited about it. I think I expect BYU to win a game, and that's going to be chalk because BYU is going to be a higher seed than it's playing in the opening game. And BYU's been awfully chalky in NCAA history. So hopefully it's chalk, and then BYU can undo historical trends, which is, okay, we're not the favorite, but we're going to upset a team here.
One of the 2 times that BYU went to the Sweet 16, they were a 6 seed that upset a 3 seed, which
always
has
good
gone
to have
against
three
the trend.
3 tenured NBA players in the starting lineup. BYU does not have that this year, like Danny Ainge and Greg Kite and Fred Roberts.
It's difficult for me to know what my expectations are because we don't know the matchups. And I feel like more so in college basketball than any other collegiate sport, it's about matchups in the NCAA tournament. So if BYU gets a team like USC or Boise State, then it's going to be a challenge. A team that will significantly pressure BYU on the perimeter, take them off the three-point line, really hound them on the ball screens, and make life difficult for Alex Barcelo and Brandon Averett coming off those ball screens. And then it could get a little bit weird, even in the first round. If BYU's in a 7-10 matchup, it's about matchups. So if BYU is given a favorable matchup in the opening round, great, yes. Then they win, have some confidence, and who knows what happens in the second round. Then you got a legitimate chance to get to the second weekend. But for me, it's hard to know. I like the way that they're playing. The one thing I do believe in consistently is that BYU plays defense. They guard, regardless.
Yes, regardless. Since 2008, this is BYU's best defensive team by adjusted defensive efficiency with KenPom.
They guard.
That tells a lot, which means if you're not shooting well, you can still stay in the game, which is what happened in the second half, by the way, against Gonzaga. BYU was terrible offensively in the second half after being unbelievable in the first half, but it was still a game late in the game. BYU even had a 9-point lead with 9 minutes to go.
BYU's won enough games.
Hang another banner.
Beautifully ugly, to steal Coach Pope's phrase, that I feel like even if they're not shooting the ball well, that they can beat some good teams. BYU's done this.
Yes, and BYU's learned. Like, BYU has learned the last, 7 or 8 games post-Pepperdine. Okay, we can't go down early. To Gonzaga, didn't. And we can play better defense. And then BYU's in the game late. Because I think down the stretch, BYU's, generally speaking, played pretty well.
They've been a second-half team more often than not this season.
Yeah. And I'm fine with being a first-half team as long as that lead is big. Like when people dog on Gonzaga, it's hilarious. Like, oh, they haven't played any close games. Because they're good. They should be rewarded for that. Like, oh, we're going to mail it in and play a close game so it looks like we were tested? No. And that was the best thing that could have happened to Gonzaga, by the way, was that BYU did it again. BYU didn't win. But remember, when when Gonzaga went to its only Final Four, the Cougars upset the Zags, number one, trying to finish undefeated, and that helped Gonzaga sort of be like, oh, yeah, wake up, just make sure we're good, to the Final Four. And this year, maybe that's the same way, where it was like, oh, we got like the fear of God in us from almost losing a game, and it wouldn't have mattered for Gonzaga. Still would have been a 1 seed, and probably the overall number 1 still. So all good. I'm excited about this. This is the most excited I've been for an NCAA tournament in a while because BYU defends. I was excited last year, but we didn't see it, obviously.
And because BYU is going to be in the tournament, that adds some excitement to it as well.
Hey, they're going to play because, on this day tomorrow a year ago, today, and we'll talk about this a little later, but tonight was the NBA, stops the season. Tomorrow is there's no March Madness, and literally like every sport stops. All the tournaments start stopping as well. And it was just brutal. But,
yeah.
but here we are a year later. We're talking about BYU as a single-digit seed again, which is unbelievable. Not just in the tourney. Guaranteed single-digit seed.
A lock as a single-digit seed.
Guaranteed single-digit seed is unbelievable given who BYU lost. So I would submit this question as we look at the way too early for next year. What grad transfers will BYU get? Because if BYU does not get both Brandon Averett and Matt Harms, BYU is not in the tourney. BYU is not in the tourney, in my opinion. They probably would have been bubblicious. Maybe they get in. But, BYU needed Brandon Averett, needed Matt Harms, and then, of course, needed Alex Barcelo to make the jump. And all three did.
All the more reason for those guys to just come back and play one more year.
That'd be nice.
When there will be, hopefully, full-capacity crowds at the Marriott Center. And get back to the Marriott Center magic, that energy.
Oh, this fall? Let's go.
Let's go, man.
Yeah, hey, if Spencer J. Cox has anything to say about it, there'll be no masks.
It's happening.
70% vaccinated. Let's go, baby.
If BYU is a 6 seed, then I'm not as worried about the matchup per se, because I feel like, all right, if you're a 6 seed and you're playing an 11 seed, you are the favorite. You should win that opening round game.
Yes.
But 7-10, it's always tough. That's still
closer
pretty close to 8 and 9.
Yeah.
BYU was a 7 seed in 2010. Jimmer Fredette's junior year against Florida, went to double overtime. That was madness.
Yeah.
But they found a way, as the chalk.
Thanks to Michael Lloyd.
To be Michael Lloyd and his 24 points, was
26
it? Oh, my goodness.
It was amazing.
But listen to these resume numbers and tell me that BYU doesn't deserve a 6 seed. The Cougars are, again, +1 today, number 19 in the net rankings, 24 in KenPom, 29 in ESPN's Basketball Power Index, 10 in KPI. Their strength of record is 21. Sagarin 24. This screams 6 seed to me.
I said it yesterday. Why isn't BYU in the discussion for a 5 or 6? Right now it's just like 7 or 8. Why not? I don't get why not.
Are we jaded? Are we so jaded because of the Sunday play situation? And
it's not us.
BYU just gets dropped down a line.
It's the bracketologists. The Sunday play thing shouldn't be as big a deal this year with everyone playing in the same location.
Yes.
So why is the Athletic has BYU 6. There you go. There's a 6. But why Andy Katz, CBS, ESPN
8 seed?
Why 8? I don't understand that.
The metrics scream
32 to 35.
6 seed.
No. BYU is in the kind of 20 to 26 range in a lot of this. Why wouldn't BYU be a 5? I don't understand why that's not a discussion. Okay, I guess BYU just had to win on Tuesday. Okay, topic 2. Tom Holmoe's the athletic director of the year. No brainer, right?
Fantastic, Tom. Great stuff. Absolutely.
He's also the BYUSN athletic director of the year.
So well deserved.
Every year.
Think about what has transpired in the past year.
What happened? I forgot.
Okay, so from March 11th last year, tomorrow, March 12th, when the NCAA tournament in large part gets shut down, we're all devastated. All of the other sports.
Yeah.
No spring championships.
Volleyball, 1, gone.
Yeah. Okay. In that moment, Tom Holmoe met with all of his teams within that way and just said, look, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make sure that we're back playing as soon as possible. And while many other conferences and athletic directors,
don't want to name names, but Pac-12 and Big Ten,
whether mandated by higher officials or not, were kind of shutting things down, Tom was trying to figure out a way to at least help teams keep practicing and, in his words, be ready to go as soon as we're given the green light that competition will happen. So he put everything in place for the teams to be able to compete as soon as there was any opening that any sort of competition was going to happen.
And to be clear, this wasn't like March, April, May. This was like June on.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was June. So the teams in large part came back early to mid-June. BYU football had player-run practices going, and things were opened up for them so that they could. And wow, did it pay off in a major way. Not just for BYU football, but we're looking at least 7 different sports in the spring, Jerem, that are in the top 20 and are rolling right now. It's incredible what this guy has done. And he shared an athlete, Angel Zong of BYU Gymnastics, and Diljit Taylor, the coach for BYU Women's Track and Field, shares some pretty personal things in the release, talking about Tom and how he shows up to help the athletes when they're feeling devastated. Angel ruptured her Achilles last year, and he was giving her a hug on the trainer's table and saying, look, I'm going to be here for you. We're going to get you right. You're going to be back. Figured out a way to get gymnastics into the gym. They had a couple of shutdowns, but constantly, okay, we just got to figure out how to work through this COVID thing. It's been a massive, massive effort. And so I applaud that Tom Holmoe was given this honor. I feel like he deserves it. And frankly, if he were the only athletic director to receive it, I think he would be the right choice.
Yes. For all the reasons you said, he is absolutely the athletic director of the year. If you do all that, but you don't win, it has an impact on the individuals involved, but it doesn't affect the perception of the athletic department outside. So you have to win as well.
Yes.
And BYU has won. This was the food storage year for BYU athletics. We were ready in an issue to dominate. So BYU football doesn't just play, dominates, has a season that is for the books, has a top 5 quarterback, first-team All-American left tackle, a top 5 defense, a 1,000-yard receiver and rusher. Like, it was magical and special. And yes, BYU did not play a schedule that was conducive to getting into the New Year's Six, and BYU played the Coastal Carolina game. But BYU did as much as it possibly could. Mm-hmm. And in men's hoops has played 26 games and won 20 of them. And in all the other sports, let's just walk through it real quick. Cross country, both in the top 5. Mm-hmm. Indoor track and field, both top 10. Volleyball, both top 15. Gymnastics, 12th. The All-In campaign, by the way, don't forget about that. This has been a notable year for BYU athletics because what we love here culturally and in the church is when there's chaos, we will be ready. And BYU athletics was ready, led by Tom Holmoe. So what a year it was. He absolutely deserves this. And the Cougars continue to win. The point of competing is winning. All the other stuff is important and is awesome. But if you don't win, it really doesn't matter in the end, nationally. And for the fan base, it affects the individuals. But you have to win too. And this year, BYU shone bright by also winning.
Listen to how he talks about the athletes and the coaches. He's so emotionally invested.
Very personable.
In their lives, in winning. He's with them when they lose to help buoy them up when they might be feeling down. And he's everywhere. He gets to so many events. I think I'm at a lot of events because I call a lot of games. I feel like every event that I'm at, Tom Holmoe is at, and then some. And if he's not, he'll call me up and be like, hey, I'm with so-and-so soccer team in Southern California. Just watched your broadcast. That was awesome. So happy for the girls or whatever. He's always dialed into every sport. He's hands-on, and that can't be said about every athletic director.
Yes, and again, winning isn't everything, but you've got to win to matter. And BYU's won this year. Like, that stuff is fantastic, and the individuals are affected for sure.
And they say that it helps them win.
Yes,
because he does that.
If you don't win, it doesn't have the same impact that you're hoping for. So I'm glad that both of those exist.
All right, our question of the day. Following the West Coast Conference tournament, which Tom Holmoe attended, by the way, have your expectations for BYU's NCAA tournament run changed? Let's hear from you, BYUSN, in Voice of the Nation.
This is the Voice of the Nation on BYU Sports Nation.
I love this response from @Patty_Rick23 on Instagram. Knowing that BYU men's basketball won't face anyone better than Gonzaga, I think that a deep run is reasonable. The Blue Goggles tell me Sweet 16 to Elite 8.
Whoa!
But get out of the first round, and I'm happy.
Yeah, we're jaded by history for sure. Yeah. If BYU is a top 25 team, we should be thinking, hey, Sweet 16 is a total possibility. But because it's only happened twice in program history and it took the National Player of the Year each time to do it, it's like, maybe one win is good. Yeah, win one game, and then it's all gravy.
I'm excited to watch Mark Pope coach in March Madness for the first time.
Mark Madness. Let's go. Okay, coming up, which announcers do we want in BYU's first-round game in the dance?
And Zach Wilson on his path to the NFL draft. What's the latest in his training regime? And what was his favorite game played at BYU? There were some gems. This is BYU Sports Nation.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by The BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Abby Bowden-Stainton and the 12th-ranked BYU gymnastics team hosts the 11th-ranked Denver tonight. What a matchup in the Marriott Center, 9 Eastern on BYU TV and the app. Senior night for the ladies.
I'll be there, as will Tom Homo. And we're talking about Tom Homo's legacy today, Jarom. Part of that is hiring the right coaches so that you can win.
Yes.
Think about all of the incredible individuals he has hired to put BYU in position to build programs and win consistently and have so many top 20 teams, including Guard Young, who has taken that program from the ashes and put them into a top 12 ranking.
If you miss on that, that can quickly go south.
Yes.
And as we've seen even this week, sometimes the AD is attached to the coach if something goes awry. So, that really matters for sure.
Mark Pope he hired, Sean Olmstead, Heather Olmstead.
Everyone
Guard
who's
Young.
currently employed, question mark?
It's incredible.
Is it everybody?
Jen Rockwood is the only coach that wasn't hired by Tom Homo, it feels like. Diljit Taylor, he hired.
I think it's only Jen, right? Yeah. Okay, well, every week we're chatting with Zach Wilson on his path to the draft. So I talked to him about what's non-negotiable in terms of habits every day, what he thinks of Chris Sims' comments about him being the number one quarterback in the draft, and some space with Trevor Lawrence, and the origin of his middle name, Kapono, and his heritage there in Hawaii. Here's my conversation with Zach Wilson on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. All right, Zach, let's continue to get to know you a little bit better. Your middle name's Kapono. Your dad has some Polynesian heritage and grew up in Hawaii, right?
Yeah. We have been eating spam, eggs, and rice since day one. So,
what has that meant to you to have kind of a multicultural house and get to know that side of it? Because I think some people last year when you were on the Polynesian watch list were like, Zach Wilson's Polynesian?
Yeah, exactly. I don't look like it. My dad was born and raised there, and we still got my grandma back there, and we visit all the time, especially on my aunt, my dad's sister's side of the family. They're all about the Hawaiian heritage, and we are too, but it doesn't look like it. But we've grown up and loved the Hawaiian lifestyle and being a part of that whole thing. So that's cool. It's cool. It's been a great part of our family, and everyone in our family has Hawaiian middle names, which is cool.
Yours is Kapono. Does that have a meaning? Is that named after somebody?
Yeah, it means righteous. I'm not sure where it came from, but I know it means righteous. I'm not sure where my parents came up with it, but it's a cool one.
Yeah, that is cool. I like that. Okay, what's the last week been like for you as we get closer to the NFL draft?
Yeah, this last week, we've been training, starting to talk about plans for May, June, and July. What April is going to be like. I'm heading back next week, Tuesday. I'm going to be training, with Stroh Formans most likely up until, pro day, after pro day, all of April, up until the draft. I'll be in Utah. Working with those guys, throwing some of my guys out there, maybe making a couple of trips back out here. And we'll have a good little maybe golfing trip and then fishing trip with Michael Pittman for his YouTube channel eventually. So that'll be fun.
So I think he's on the Colts, right? And he played at USC, and BYU beat USC in 2019. So I imagine that game gets brought up with him.
Yeah, no doubt. But he was, the way he approached it is just kind of messed up. He told me he was like, going into that game, we didn't even care. Like, it was like we were looking for the next opponent next week. Like, it was just like, BYU, like, whatever. Like, that sucks, because we ended up beating you guys. So it kind of backfired. You guys approached the game that way.
That's a classic Power 5 tale, Zach. Like, so such and such team lost this big bowl game. Well, we wanted to play in the playoff, and we didn't. And that's garbage. You lost the game. Come on, man. And that was a great game, the USC game. Is that among the games that you cherish the most? Because that was a packed house and Skycam and ABC and then, like, overtime. That's got to be one of the better wins BYU's had the last couple of years. Where does that fit for your favorite wins?
Yeah, definitely a top two, I would say. That was fun. I would say we had the USC Tennessee wins that year just because of the, I'd say the atmosphere, the fans, everyone being there was so cool to upset those guys, especially at home. Not many guys can say they beat USC, so it was a lot of fun.
Can you still believe you guys beat Tennessee? Because when I go back and I watch you release the pass and there's like 11 seconds left and you're standing at like the 19-yard line, I thought, this is a miracle, literally a miracle that BYU pulled this out.
Yeah, no doubt. We definitely should have lost that game. Like really going back, Tennessee really screwed that one up. We did a great job there at the end, but that was really on them. They screwed that one up.
Yeah, in front of that massive crowd in the stadium and the checkered, end zone, it was awesome. Okay, Chris Sims is a big fan of yours. I don't know if you saw this. I imagine you did. Did you?
I mean, I get tagged in a lot of stuff, so.
So Chris Sims is on the Zach Wilson hype train. He said, you're the best prospect. He really broke you down effectively. I thought he was very interesting with it. He even broke you down physically what he liked. And he also said there's a little bit of space between you and Trevor Lawrence, which was somewhat surprising because everyone kind of looks at Trevor 1 and then there's battle for number 2, and your name's clearly in there with Justin Fields and everybody else. So what did you think of that as the pendulum swings for some to, hey, Zach's the number 1 pick?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Everybody has their own outlooks, and there's some takes where I'm the 6th best quarterback or the 5th, and then the 2nd, and then the 1st. Everyone's got their own opinion. It really only comes down to the team that's drafting. It really comes down to what they think, and we really won't know what that is until the draft comes. And so, everyone can say whatever they want. Everyone's great. Every quarterback's great in their own way, and it really depends what that team is looking for. So it's cool to maybe see some of that stuff here and there, but you really don't buy into it much because really the team that's picking is the only one that matters. So we'll see come draft day.
That's true. It just takes one to really love you, right? Do you want to be the number 1 pick? Do you care?
I mean, yeah, of course, right? I mean, who doesn't want to be the number 1 pick? To be able to say that you were the number 1 overall pick in a draft. That's a dream come true. That's more than a dream come true for a lot of people. Most people just want a chance to get drafted. To be the number 1 is something special. So. That's obviously a goal, but, it's going to be a tough one to achieve.
What are some of the skills or attributes that you feel like you bring to the table, whether it be the film that you have, the things that you can do, or the things mentally, that can combat the bias against non-Power 5 quarterbacks?
Yeah, I feel like, when you watch my game, the ability to make plays outside the pocket and, create something out of nothing. I feel like I have a knack for being able to, think outside the box, make throws that guys aren't expecting. I used to tell my receivers in practice, hey, you are a runoff on this route. We're technically not supposed to look at you on this route, but be ready. I could throw it to you. You never know. So there's little things here and there. And I would say the Power 5 competition, I think, Chris Sims actually hit it right on the head is the talent that we're playing with is the same as the talent we're playing against. It goes the same way as Alabama and the guys that those guys are surrounded by, the receivers, the defense, O-linemen that they have. So I think it really just levels itself out. I really don't think competition matters in that aspect because, you're playing against the same competition as you have. And so I think it all works itself out. There's so many successful quarterbacks that have played against bad competition, and there's so many successful quarterbacks that have played against the best competition. So I really don't think it matters.
And that's great because a long time ago, and frankly, even a couple years ago, it was like, okay, if you're not 6'5" and 225, you can't be a whatever. That's not a thing, right? And last week we talked about, your weight is discussed. You're not a guy that's 190, even though you might look like it sometimes. You're at 215, 220, and that's where you want to be. So when you look at the opportunity ahead of you and last season, at what point, Zach, were you like, oh, I'm making a lot of these throws and making kind of a leap. And we've talked about how that leap was whoa, bigger than we thought, right? But at what point were you like, oh, all this stuff I practiced with John and Tom House's guys, it's working?
I mean, that's what's so fun about the game, right? Is you put in so many more hours outside of the actual game than you do in the game. And so when you spend so much time on one thing and then you try and apply it and it actually works, I think that's where it's so exciting. And so, I was able to feel a lot of that. I would go into games and to be honest, sometimes I would look forward to maybe one of my O-linemen getting beat. So I would have to slide left and make an off-balance throw. I kind of looked forward to being able to throw that way rather than just standing in the pocket. And so I just think it makes the game fun when you're able to do that kind of stuff.
Did not having a crowd affect you in any way positively in that regard, where you're like, okay, I can just focus on the game itself, or obviously everyone missed the fans, but was there anything that changed the game for you in that regard with no fans this year?
Yeah, I think it helped some things and then made other things harder. I would say it definitely helped with communication, the ability to, relay things out on the field. I would say stress levels were a little bit lower for everybody on the field on both sides. People weren't getting as antsy for games and they were able to stay calm, but I would also say it hurt energy. I feel like both sides of the ball had energy levels because our energy was low because there was no crowd. They're hyping you up. It almost felt like it was a practice. And so there's plus and negatives to both. And honestly, I feel like, for me, having fans definitely makes the game more fun and just makes it, way more exciting. When you go and score that game-winning touchdown or whatever it is, it just makes it more fun.
Yeah, and we're certainly looking forward to that this fall. We're talking with Zach Wilson on BYU Sports Nation. Give us a sense of what kind of film study you were able to do with BYU in those 20 hours on your own, and then what you're being taught now in terms of what it's like as an NFL quarterback with film study.
Yeah, it was interesting. When I was in college, I was really watching more of the play rather than, exactly what was going on. There were sometimes I'd be going through it and I'm like, ooh, like this play is super cool. This would fit our offense. Maybe I'd screen record it and shoot it over to A-Rod and maybe discuss back and forth with him. But really, I was watching, how these guys did their drops for certain concepts, how they, moved in the pocket, whether it was small movements, big movements, how they were able to, make throws with guys in their face or ball placement or, all that kind of stuff. There's so much that goes into the details of being an NFL quarterback. So I really watched a lot of that stuff. And now working with John and these other QBs, we're diving way more into the scheme, what the defense are doing, being able to pick up disguises, what concepts work against certain plays, how coaches are going to call them, your triangle reads, timing with your footwork, so we're looking more at the schematics of the plays and all that stuff now, when before I was just looking to see how those guys played the game from a reaction standpoint.
Do you love that? Do you love being able to do this as your job right now?
I do, right? I mean, there's not a better job in the world for sure.
I like my job too, although yours is going to pay a little more than mine.
Close second.
Yeah, close second. It's very similar. Signing bonus is very similar, depending what division you're in. Let's talk about the influences on your game. You mentioned some of the quarterbacks, but in terms of like a band, like you talk to a band, they're like, oh, we were influenced by this band, and this band. Who are the influences on your game in terms of people?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, someone that I haven't talked to since till this last year, until I got into this whole draft stuff because we had the same agent and stuff. But, somebody that had such an effect on my game that, didn't even know it was Joe Burrow. And that I'm so in love with their 2019 season, the way that they played the game, the way that they did everything, the connection he had with his receivers, how he was able to take easy things, but then, took shots down the field. And, he absolutely, killed it that year, having 60 touchdowns or whatever it was. He had such an amazing year. And I watched that season so many times and just kept thinking, how can I apply this to my game and the things that he's doing and the way he's smart with the ball, but also aggressive. And so I learned so much from that season of the LSU team that won that national championship. It was awesome. And
it sounds like you've talked to him since then.
Yeah. We've communicated back and forth. I actually was able to reach out to him not that long ago when I was picking an agent, and he had great things to say. And now we have the same exact agent, so it's cool that we were able to get on that same level. But then also him coming out here, and he's going to probably work with 3D QB guys, maybe eventually, maybe not this year, maybe the next. But I'll ask him, hey, what was your schedule like last year with COVID? How are you learning the offense? How was this? How was that? He checked in and asked how training was going. So he's a super cool dude as far as that stuff goes.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. And weird to think that you're only like a year behind him in this process, right, of getting into the NFL. We did get a fan question for you this week, which is exciting. Aaron Bagley wants to know, do you have any daily non-negotiable habits that helped you succeed? If so, what are they?
Yeah, waking up early is definitely one that was, hard, is putting your phone away. I still struggle with that now, right? But being able to wake up in the morning, a lot of the time I try and leave my phone downstairs when I go to sleep. But waking up and going to bed without a phone and just actually being able to put your head on the pillow and go to sleep and not play on a phone, not watch TV, I feel like that's one of the best habits ever, to just be able to get out of bed in the morning bright and early. So like naturally I wake up right now at about 6 in the morning. because of our workouts and all that kind of thing that we have going on.
Do you have you said naturally, do you just wake up or do you have an alarm clock?
Well, I set an alarm, right, just in case, but on the weekends and when you're not trying to wake up early, your body will just start to naturally wake you up at around 6 because you created that ability to just start waking up early.
That's a great attribute. I've not met an unsuccessful person, waking up early constantly, so it breeds success. Yeah, I love that. Aaron followed up with this. What advice would you have for someone who wants to master their craft?
Yeah, continuously working it, not always working your strengths, but working your weaknesses. Like, stuff for me was, maybe my footwork and making sure that stuff was all dialed up, or, with shoulder surgery, I struggled in the physical aspects a lot. And I would just say work the things that you're struggling and improve to make the things you're really good at better. Don't just, be comfortable, be able to, go outside the box and work things that you struggle with, and find those things. But really, it's just how many hours of practice that you put in. And then I always ask myself this question is what am I doing that I maybe other people aren't doing? What's different? What's something that I can use to separate myself from other people?
What's one of those things in your mind that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, one of those things, especially when I was in college, was film study. I felt like that was something that, I'm sure other guys were doing, NFL tape and film study, but that was something I definitely took pride in. I made sure that every single day I was watching something. And then I would even, I would watch random things. I would watch, random quarterbacks that maybe struggled in the NFL or struggled in college. And I wanted to know why. I wanted to know why they were struggling. And then I'd watch the best and what the differences were. So I would just watch random things all the time to try and just learn everything, not just always watching the best.
Well, great stuff, Zach. It's been fun to get to know you each week. We're going to continue to do this to the draft and beyond the draft. So good luck with your workouts, and we'll see you in town next week.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was Zach Wilson on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how. Gets up early, knows Joe Burrow now. He works super hard. I really like that about him.
I love that he studied quarterbacks that struggled in the NFL and to know why they struggle.
People don't really do that.
It's not just reviewing the best, but so he's kind of attacking this from all angles, which is impressive.
Yeah, like you did the opposing defense this year. Absolutely. Okay, coming up, gymnastics coach Guard Young on his team's beam fence.
Plus, have we zeroed in on who Zach Wilson's legitimate NFL comparable is? This is BYU Sports Nation.
This segment of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Visible Supply Chain Management.
10-1, 15th ranked women's volleyball led by Taylor Ballard-Nixon, fresh off a career-high 23 kills at San Francisco. Host Pacific Friday and Saturday, 3 Eastern afternoon contests, both on the BYU TV app.
He is Jerem Jordan. I'm Spencer Linton, and this is BYU Sports Nation. Let's whip it. The Cougar Whip Around, presented by Visible Supply Chain Management, tackling America's most challenging shipping problems.
Bleacher Report says Zach Wilson's NFL comp is a bigger Russell Wilson. Do you like that one?
I do like that comparison because I value Russell Wilson as one of the best decision makers and athletes in the entire NFL. He can run, clearly, but he's a smart runner. And I like that they think Zach Wilson can be an explosive, athletic runner, but also give him the credit of being intelligent like that.
It's not the best comp because Russell Wilson throws a rainbow. Zach is a more direct thrower, like in the pocket, although the accuracy is true, but the means to that I don't agree with. Also, Russell Wilson's 5'11", 205. Zach is 6'2" or 3", 215.
Thus the bigger Russell Wilson?
Well, bigger because he's taller. Like I don't know. It's not a great one for me.
Okay. Who is the right one? Maybe Aaron Rodgers?
It's more Aaron Rodgers in arm angles and quick release.
I just like the idea of Zach being as smart as Russell Wilson.
I don't like the idea of being Zach being as picky as Russ is being right now with the Seahawks.
Yeah, fair enough. 1 year ago tonight, I'll never forget this. Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert tested positive before his game against the Oklahoma City Thunder for COVID-19. What do you remember about that night?
I remember him touching all the mics carelessly before that.
A few days before.
Yes. I remember thinking, wow, this is proceeding in a scary direction. And then tomorrow is the day where it really ended. Everything went down. But, man, yeah, it was a little scary. I remember talking to my daughter like, hey, don't touch your face. Don't, we've already gotten toilet paper, that whole rush and everything. But, yeah, it got real quickly.
My initial reaction, and I was working at KSL that night, I got a call from the producer, Nate, up there, and he's like, hey, super easy night. Jazz game against Oklahoma City. It's going to be really simple. We've got a couple of minutes to fill at 10 p.m., like, bada bing, bada boom. It's going to be really easy tonight. And it was his first time producing as well live.
Oh,
everybody else is on vacation, so they call in the reserves from the bullpen.
Yeah. Are you left-handed?
No.
You're a lefty?
But they call us all in, and then at roughly 6 o'clock, we see the teams congregating by their benches, and the game is not starting, and just, oh my goodness, they're going to cancel this game.
Yeah.
Somebody's got COVID. Somebody who has it? And then we found out from some inside sources that it was Rudy, and it was breaking news all night.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget. That was crazy. But
and that was a Wednesday.
Yes.
So the next day, BYU's going to play LMU in baseball, and we show up, ready to do it. Nope, didn't happen.
Nothing.
And then the next day it's Friday, and when no March Madness, no NCAA sports.
I remember feeling like, no. We can do everything else can get canceled, just not the tournament. Just not the tournament. They can figure out a way to do the tournament.
No, couldn't do it.
Brutal.
Couldn't do it. Okay, coming up, fans in the stands.
And that includes tonight for BYU Gymnastics at the Marriott Center. Head coach Gard Young will join us live to discuss what his team needs to score in front of those limited fans to make a final push up the rankings. This is BYU Sports Nation.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by The BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Zach Eschenberg and second-ranked men's volleyball host Stanford Friday and Saturday night, 9 Eastern on BYU TV and the app.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation live from Studio B. Joining us now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline is the head coach of 12th-ranked BYU Gymnastics, Gard Young. Gard, great to have you back on the show. And we're so excited that you're going to have fans in the stands at the Marriott Center tonight. What type of impact and difference do even a limited number of fans make for your girls and their performance?
Yeah, we will take 1, 2, or 1,000 fans, whatever they're going to let us in that building. So it's been definitely a surreal season. We've been to places where it's just been us. We've been to places where they've let fans in. We've been to places where it's just mom and dad at the stands. So we got a great squad led by 7 amazing seniors that's just adaptable. So I think that's the key to success this year, is just be adaptable and roll with it and then go out and do your job.
They've been amazing, and this whole team's been amazing, Gard. Congratulations on a really successful season so far, and I know you guys want to keep this going. What do you need to accomplish tonight against a really good Denver squad as well?
Yeah, Denver, number 11 right now. They just squeaked ahead of us. So number 11 versus the number 12 tonight. We're jockeying for those final positions to be seeded going into the NCAA tournament. So it's going to be a back-and-forth meet. They'll have a great meet. We'll have a great meet. We're sitting on a 196.9 to something, which is a good score for us. And so we're going to have to see a 197 meet to really make a difference for to move up into seeding.
Okay, that you just answered my next question is, have you zeroed in on the score and you feel like you got to go 197 plus? What do your girls think about the pressure of competing for a score like that? Are they worried about stuff like that? How do you keep them just focused on one event at a time, one routine at a time, and not thinking about, oh, man, we got to score 197?
Yeah, I think right now we're kind of focused in on our seniors. Let's just go out our senior night and let these girls have a great experience and celebrate them. They've been playing for BYU for the past 4 years. So, win, lose, draw, high score, low score, we're just about to celebrate senior night.
And as you approach, MRGCs and regionals and what you hope will be nationals, how can this team take this? You've taken the step up in the regular season. I guess getting to nationals is probably the next step, right?
A couple years ago, we redid the format. And so, before there were 6 different region spots and 12 teams would make it into the final championship round. And now that's down to 8. And so, for us, we just want to try to get as far in the tournament as possible. Obviously, priorities would be to have a good showing, if not win the MRGC conference championship this year. So we'll go in probably as the favorites, but it's a really good conference. All 4 teams are in the top 20. So, really who puts the best meat down that night will be the champion. And then off to the tournament where, you'll see, we got to bye in the first round. We'll go into the second round and try to make a berth into the Sweet 16 is what we'll call it, the regional finalist team. And then from there, who knows?
Let's talk about the locations of regionals and nationals. How is that all going to work with the NCAA? Same locations? Are there going to be different pods? How is that all going to work?
Yeah, so, originally, a couple years ago, they selected 6 different sites when it was a 6 regional site, and then that whittled down to 4. And then this year, 4 sites couldn't host it. So it got opened back up and moved. And so we got 1 site here in the West, which will be at the Maverick Center, hosted by University of Utah. And then the rest, you go back east. The 3 other choices are Georgia, Alabama, and West Virginia. So while our girls, want to travel and go see those places, I'm kind of like, going up 45 minutes up to the Maverick Center just sounds pretty good too. So we'll be happy no matter where we go. Just excited for the opportunity to compete. And that really has been kind of the theme all year.
Coach, we're thrilled for you, the team, and especially the seniors. We're going to honor them tonight on the broadcast against Denver. Let's give you some BYU Sports Nation karma. You can distribute that among your team, and we'll look forward to a fantastic meet tonight.
Great seeing you guys.
You got it. Guard Young with us on BYU Sports Nation. Joining us on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.
Should be great tonight, 9 Eastern on BYU TV and the app. Can't wait. Okay, coming up, who gets today's Elite Voice?
And who has earned the rise and shout-out. Maybe you should be to the fans that are scooping up all those tickets to the events. This is BYU Sports Nation.
Fans, Cougar Club.
BYU Sports Nation's Rise and Shoutout is presented by Mountain America Credit Union, guiding you forward.
BYU Sports Nation, always available on demand via the BYU TV and BYU radio apps.
And hey, there's a podcast. If you're new to the program, welcome. You can download it. Google BYU Sports Nation podcast, subscribe, review, and rate it.
Our question of the day centers on this. Following the West Coast Conference basketball tournament, have your expectations for the BYU men's hoops team in their NCAA tournament potential run changed? Our Elite Voice of the Day, presented by Sundance Mountain Resort, from Tyson Clare Price on Twitter.
What's up, Tyson?
Blue goggles on.
Blue goggle alert.
He says blue goggle alert. Pull out the train horn, torn toy thingamajigger.
The horn. Pull out the horn.
Blow the tournament train horn. BYU men's basketball, I think, will make it to the championship game.
Whoa!
And we'll beat Gonzaga and we'll win the championship. A 4th matchup with Gonzaga?
Why haven't we been wearing this all year?
Oh, I put it on early.
I know, but like one time.
It's true.
What? What?
Here, I don't know.
Let's go. Wear the tourney train. What's the point of the tourney train if we're not going to wear the hat?
Tourney train hat's on, baby. Let's do this.
Fun fact, this is from Dairy King in
Heber, Utah.
And love the Dairy King, but that day didn't mesh well with my stomach. Okay?
No rise and shout out for that.
So when I see that hat, I think, I threw up.
We need to associate it with good things.
Yes.
Positive memories.
Yeah, I do love the Dairy King. I go there.
Man.
I go up that way.
Okay, now for today's Rise and Shoutouts, presented by Mountain America Credit Union, guiding you forward.
It goes to Jimmer Fredette. 10-year anniversary of the New Mexico game. 10-year anniversary of the New Mexico game.
52 points.
On the same shot, he not only sets the single game record, but the career record on an and one. And the fact that he scores 52 with one stinking free throw is unbelievable.
One free throw?
Unbelievable. You'd think he would have made 16 free throws to get to 52.
That is unbelievable.
Still awesome.
Okay, our another Rise and shout out for me. Let's give it to Tom Holmoe.
Absolutely.
And I said it earlier. Not only does he connect with the athletes on another level, he's hired the right coaches. He's got this thing moving in an incredibly positive direction.
Yes. I hope it moves in a Power 5 direction, but that's not in BYU's control. So what BYU's doing is just trying to be the best it can be, which is, right now, A top 20 overall athletic program.
I can't wait to hear about the Learfield Cup standings at the end of all of this spring season. Where will BYU stand in that? It's got to be
You'd think top 15.
Probably the highest it's ever going to have been after an athletic calendar.
Yes, and Stanford's cutting a bunch of Olympic sports.
So they're not going to, by default, win the Learfield Cup.
Yeah, and, well, perhaps they still will, but it might be more competitive with Duke.
Yes.
That's essentially what it comes down to.
Anyway, so much good happening in the BYU Athletics Department.
Talk about good.
To today's guest, Zach Wilson, on his path to the NFL Draft, and the man we just heard from, Guard Young, head coach of women's gymnastics.
Sorry to Dennis Petto, ran out of time. Conversation continues 24/7 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Use the hashtag BYUSN.
For Jerem, I am Spencer. Shout out to Natalie Brookman. We'll see you tonight for NCAA Women's Gymnastics Top 12 showdown between BYU and Denver on senior night. Go Cougs!